On the current of life, I address you. For as the Maha Chohan, holding you dear to my heart, I wish to instruct you on the affairs of the heart, how the pressure of life's journey tries to impede the natural flow that would come forth, even without prompting, from the reservoir of the heart of God. If only the life stream had the awareness of those things in the outer world that stop the very vibration of the hand of God, healing, caressing, instructing the outer vehicles. Blessed ones, when the hand of God sends forth a directive, it is not stopped or halted by any human creation. But what becomes the rule of one's life is the will of God. And when the outer vehicles exercise that prerogative to establish the will of human creation, you can begin to see why there is a warring within the very members of the bodies of a life stream. So what is the answer? Some have already intuited what is the right course for them, and have established enough of the current of the light of the mighty I Am Presence and of the ascended masters bequeathed to the outer vehicles, so that they might fashion a temple without hands. You blessed hearts are a work in progress that your mighty I Am Presence initiated long, long ago, requiring that each vehicle that you place the focus of your attention upon at any given time be resonating and vibrating with the heart of the mighty I Am Presence, at least to a greater degree than the human creation that is all around the life stream. When there is a seating of the consciousness in the vibration of God, it is unmistakable. You are charged with a flow of light, life, and love directly from the heart of the Presence. And know on the instant that you are in the right place, performing what is the need of the hour, and establishing the kingdom of your own mighty I Am Presence in each realm, each world of consciousness. You ask, why is it that the bodies are so seemingly at war with one another, that do not on the instant hear the voice of God and respond. Aha! Now you ask the right question. Indeed, your journey has been long, and you have tried with all your might in many of your incarnations to hold fast to the beliefs in God in which you were residing in that time, in that era. You have tried with all your might to establish the moral fabric of your identity as a vehicle of consciousness that would resonate with that purpose that was placed upon your heart in any given embodiment. But having fallen short from time to time, you have created karma. And that karma, blessed hearts, demands recompense. It will not go away without the balancing of the debt. You, as the students of the Ascended Masters, have been given the violet flame and all of the rays of God consciousness with which to heal, transmute, forgive, love, and establish patterns of God identity in your present life that would outweigh any vibration of returning karma. And on the instant, when that karmic debt is treated by the intense love of God, it is as though it never was there before. You have gained the mastery associated with it, for you have learned, in many cases, what not to do, where you should not go, with your consciousness and your attunement for the truth of your identity as the flame upon the altar of your heart desires to have the focus of attention firmly fixed upon the presence of God, and allow all things to flow forth from your vehicles of consciousness, from that fountain of light and momentum of your own victories and attainments. But even so, you ask, why is it so difficult to know what is right, what is not, what is enough, and what is too much? What is the vibration, and how to gauge that vibration with the flame upon the altar of the heart? Understanding that the whole of an embodiment is indeed a journey in and of itself, irrespective of the many previous incarnations, or even the life prior to incarnating upon the earth. During that present embodiment in which you find yourself, There are specific lessons that must be learned. They are those that have been the stumbling blocks of some of the previous incarnations. And though your heart strives mightily, it is always bumping into that element of misunderstanding, of negativity in all of its forms, disappointments, agitations, all of which develop a Gordian knot that seems to be impossible to penetrate. For once you reach a level of that knot, touching it with the fingers of the rays of your mighty I Am presence, you realize that just that quickly, the ray begins to move to other areas right within that Gordian knot that you were unaware were a part of the fabric that you had unconsciously, perhaps, but most assuredly adopted as the false identity of who you are. So, knowing this, you would want to bathe your consciousness at all levels of your being with a floodtide of God's love, God's light that would penetrate all avenues of the Gordian knot of the human creation. All that was collectively drawn together, carried over perhaps from other incarnations, masquerading as the truth of your identity, when all the while blocking your vision of the truth of the mighty I Am presence, of the pure flame upon the altar of your heart, of the momentum already won in God victory, in God illumination. Allowing you in your respective lower vehicles to be misguided, misdirected, all the while to the detriment of what your own God presence desired to bring forth through your creative efforts, through the heart flame, serving the presence of God. So when you become aware of this, you would desire once more to flood your consciousness with the river Helicon, allowing for the momentums of the presence of God in all domains, in all of the kingdom of God, to assist you in once more connecting with the flame upon the altar of the heart. Now understand, blessed hearts, there are varying degrees of these initiations. And just because you pass one initiation does not mean that you will not be expected by your presence and required by your presence to pass that initiation again. But perhaps it will be presented to you in a different form, a different fashion, and at first you will not recognize it. But there will come that point when the vibration at the core of that initiation will be unmistakable. It will have the clarity ringing out within your consciousness so that you begin to learn what are those areas that require the light of God to transmute. It is a long journey, even in one embodiment. For some, one incarnation may be as though it were 4 or 5 or more, depending upon the acceleration of their vehicles, the discrimination of their consciousness, of their ability to internalize the fire of God. So you can see, blessed ones, as you move forward with each new day, it is an opportunity to once more commune with your mighty I Am presence, with the holy angels, with the ascended masters, drawing them close, so that the touchstone of identity is not based upon what you may or may not be intuiting of your own identity. For drawing closer and closer to the presence and to the fire that is released from this altar allows you to have a constant stream of ascended master vibration, always drawing your focus back into an alignment with what is true and just and right according to the presence of God. And that presence, blessed one, is not merely your own mighty I Am presence, albeit that might be sufficient for some embodiments. But you are required to draw your attention into the allness of God that encompasses the 3 kingdoms, so that as the Angelic Kingdom, the Elemental Kingdom, the Christic Line of the I Am, can all be drawn into a single ray that is distilled into your own heart flame. This is why you are beckoned to this altar, so that you will not lose sight vibration or action that calls you to come higher, to absorb more of the presence of God, to be a vehicle of consciousness that is the handmaiden of the Lord. For indeed, that stayed all opposition to the Blessed Mother Mary. It strengthened El Moria. It illumined Saint Germain. It filled the consciousness of Kuthumi. It established cosmic law through beloved Nada. It revealed the beauty to the earth in all forms of love by Paul the Venetian and the architect of the cosmic white cube of consciousness that holds to the divine pattern and blueprint of the heart of God. Serapis Bey, drawing to the fore the perfect pattern and God identity, so that you would have a touchstone indeed of the purity required for your life stream. And oh, blessed hearts, your brother on the path, Hilarion, that anchors the truth of the emerald ray. You see, blessed ones, all of the tools of God identity are paraded before you, are released so that you might internalize right from this altar, so that you understand and know when the vibration of God is resonating and showing you the signs within your own heart that can correspond with your mighty I Am presence, that you would carry with you wherever you go. And every moment of every day, you have that awareness and opportunity to test the vibration. And when you do not understand, you have the ability to strive with all your might to release the current of your own heart's flame into the allness of God, to receive the answer or answers that you may require. I am sure by now especially if you are new to these teachings. You have begun to realize this is the work of a lifetime, not to be accomplished necessarily in a moment, an hour, a day, or even a decade. Many times you know not what is behind an initiation or a test. But you have enough of the pressure of light upon the altar of your heart that will not allow you to forsake the path of the teachings of the Ascended Masters. You will draw closer and closer to your brothers and sisters on the path. In the ecclesia of the rose of God love, and one and all together will become the temple of the Most High, allowing where there are strengths in some, weaknesses perhaps in others, to reinforce the whole of the fabric of God identity in the ecclesia. And as the hand of God begins to illumine the flame upon the altar of your heart even more, you understand those areas of life that should have long ago gone into the flame. But because you have misjudged your own life and taken unreality as truth, even your own God presence is required to respect that will. In the final analysis of a given lifetime, when one stands before the karmic board, there are all manner of decisions that have been made that you look back on and think, surely I could have done this better, or this, or that. But in the collective whole, your presence has hoped and had faith in the flame upon the altar of the heart, that you would stay the course, that you would continue to have the flame of God expand, and that all would be well. And given the cycle, perhaps, indeed, the ascension is the reward for service to the presence of God and the need of the hour. Blessed hearts, perhaps there are those so new to the path that they think it is not for them. For indeed, initiations seem to be scary, fearful, something to be ignored or postponed. But I, the Maha Chohan, must tell you, they cannot be ignored. You cannot skirt the pressure of the mighty I Am presence. When the time is nigh, the presence is always the victor. And indeed, the initiations are victorious. For if you did not receive initiations, what would be the purpose of your life? If the consciousness of humanity were continually silted over with all of the patterns and habits of the times and the era, not to say anything of the previous karmas of many incarnations, then what would be the purpose of incarnation? Do you suppose that the great I Am would desire to send forth the flame of God, to be drawn into the lower vehicles, if there was not a divine plan, a divine purpose, a divine path? Many of you have already learned of the great journey of the Godhead charioteer. Each one of you came forth in that manner by the impetus and the pressure of God, propelling the heart flame into the physical, the emotional, the mental, the memory bodies, Akasha. And thus you were born. And life begins again, perhaps with a new set of equations to be fulfilled, new patterns that must be learned. And though there are momentums of attainment from previous lifetimes, there are those cycles when those momentums are not enough. There are other areas of life, other rays of God consciousness, other domains that must be mastered. So, blessed ones, if this is the path that you choose, know that you are in great company. For those that have preceded you at this intensity have come into incarnation vested with enough light and enough momentum upon the threefold flame of their heart from previous incarnations with which to overcome any limitation, any sense of separation from God, any rebellion, and once more have the full faith and trust of the mighty I Am presence that you are ready for the next cycle. Blessed hearts, upholding the truth of one's identity is an absolute necessity to win your ascension. Fulfilling one's dharma as that divine mission deposited upon the heart is likewise a necessity, a life of service in that domain of the mission of God is a requirement as well. So you see, blessed hearts, there are no mountaintops upon which one can retire to and think that they are performing the work that their presence required. This is a cycle for the flame of sacrifice and service. This is a time when those with attainment come together under the canopy of our vehicles that we have established here at this altar, drawing into the collective whole the promise for the future, the golden age. There is no other place upon the earth where this light, this instruction, this momentum is coming forth. Oh, there may be those that wish to placate their human creation and gravitate to places where there are like vibrations of their own human consciousness that report to them comfort, a lack of demanding fire of the threefold flame, a place where they assimilate into and are not challenged. But for those who are the sincere students of the path to the ascension, they understand there is no place on earth where they can receive the keys, the consciousness transferred by the ascended masters, and the momentum of a great foundation of the Word of God upon which they can stand for eternity. This blessed ones you can count on as the truth of cosmic law. When the momentum of my consciousness surveys the student body of those that have come and have committed their heart flame to the mission of the ascended masters, I am warmed, and my love in return bathes the consciousness of those life streams with the balm of Gilead that would comfort and bridge over the gaps in attainment that are yet to be garnered, so that each one is held in the palm of the hand of God. I likewise hold my consciousness open to receive and shuttle to and fro the flame of God to those that are destined in this lifetime to enter into this work, that they may be drawn by the pillar of fire, the collective consciousness of the entire spirit of the Brotherhood of Light that is anchored upon this altar, and the heartbeat of the Lord of the world. This, blessed ones, I joyfully, lovingly extend my heart and my momentum into. Won't you answer the call of your mighty I Am presence, the Lords of Karma, the Ascended Masters, Archangels and Archai, Elohim, and hierarchs of the elements, all who stand in support of the work that the Chohans perform directly with the upraised chalice, ready to engage in the service of God. Let that momentum be honored, fortified, and protected by the angels of Chamuel and Charity, as the reality of God that will be maintained ongoing as the light of the world. I, the Maha Chohan, wish for you love beyond measure that can only come from the heart of God, Holy Communion in the Allness of God.